Hey there, everybody, and welcome to this video on nurturing adult attachment with the CRAVES approach. I am your host, Dr. Dawn-Elise Snipes. We've heard a lot about attachment, or you probably have, but what is attachment exactly? Attachment behaviors, our first attachment behaviors, are formed when we are infants, and it is a response that we have that's kind of built in is designed to protect us and provide a sense of safety and security in the face of threat. When a baby cries, when a baby's anxious, it wants its caregiver to make it feel better. And when that caregiver is responsive and does so, the child learns that the world is trustworthy, that their caregiver is trustworthy to keep them safe. As children, we typically only have one attachment figure we look to for that safety and security, and that's usually our primary caregiver. When we get older, since we don't have to rely on them for all of our very basic human needs, we're able to meet those. We often have a lot of, or several, other secure attachments that help us meet our social and emotional needs. In order to enhance these relationships, I've created an acronym or a method called CRAVES, and this just helps us remember what some of the most important aspects are in order to nurture this healthy relationship. And the first thing I'm going to remind you of is that relationships are a two-way street. You can't expect somebody to constantly do these things for you if you're not doing them for other people. So one of the things that you can do to work on creating that secure attachment is to make sure that you're practicing these principles, but also look for people who can provide them in return. Let's talk about the mnemonic or the acronym right now. CRAVES stands for consistency, responsiveness, attention, validation, empathy, and solution generation. Let's go through them one by one. Consistency. We need people in our lives who are there. When we call them, they answer. When we text them, they respond. Maybe not right away, but they do get back with us. They are consistently there when we want to talk, not necessarily just when there's a crisis. We want somebody who's responsive. When we're upset, they kind of jump into action to be supportive for us. They're not just kind of there like, yeah, what do you want me to do about it? They are responsive when we need something. That doesn't mean they're always going to be able to help. You need to move. Your best friend may not be available and be able to be responsive that week to help you move. But generally, when something comes up, they are responsive. They're willing to help. They're consistent. They're there. They're responsive, which means they're willing to help. Attention means not only being responsive, but paying attention to the relationship, regularly, growing the relationship. Relationships don't just naturally grow like the pea plant in your garden. You have to be willing to nurture it. You have to be willing to pay attention. And one of the best ways to do this is by knowing the love languages of the people who are significant in your life. If you go online, you can read about the 5 love languages, but in short, they are acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, and gifts. And most people have a couple of different ways that they understand love. So when somebody does this for them, they feel loved. Not all of those 5 apply to everybody. So it's important to know which love languages are important for you. How do you, when somebody does something, how do you know that they love you? Is it acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts, quality time, touch? What helps you know that they love and care about you? Remember that your love language may not be the same as your friends. You need to know what their love languages are. Maybe they are more responsive with gifts and quality time. Okay, so that's how you communicate to them that you love them, you want to give them attention, and you're going to be there consistently. V stands for validation. We feel how we feel. And my best friend may be all fired up about something and upset, angry, however, but I don't feel the same way about the situation. That doesn't mean that he's wrong and I'm right, or he's right and I'm wrong. It just means we feel how we feel. And validation means saying, I get it. I hear that you're feeling angry, and or I feel that you're anxious about this situation. Empathy and validation kind of go hand in hand. When you try to get into that person's head a little bit to try to understand where they're coming from and validate, that basically means telling them that it's okay to feel how you feel. It doesn't mean I necessarily feel the same way, but it's okay to feel how you feel, and your feelings are valid, your thoughts are valid. Once you have validated how they're feeling, what they're thinking, you've empathized with what's going on, then you move on to solution generation. And we all need a friend occasionally that can help us generate solutions to the problems that we're facing, because sometimes we get stuck in our little box and we can only see one way to do things. And a friend might say, well, have you considered? So solution generation is also there in an attachment relationship. Even with children and their primary caregivers, when a child gets upset, the parent provides them comfort and then helps them figure out how to cope with the situation. The parent helps with solution generation. So to sum up, healthy adult attachments or healthy adult attachment relationships are characterized by consistency, responsiveness, attention or attentiveness, validation, empathy, and solution generation. If you can focus on practicing those with the people that are most important in your life, you will find that you are enhancing those relationships, and you will find that you feel more secure because you know that you have nurtured those relationships and they are there for you when you need them, if you need them.